Welcome once again to 5 Talents Africa. My name is Mildred Okoth, and our topic today is on skills required by recruiters. Did you know that recruiting requires a bunch of so many skills, apart from the knowledge and training in human resource management? To attract the right person to join your organization is a process. You must have a good reason to make someone risk leaving their job and join you. Did you know that some people simply apply for jobs to know what is available in the market? They may not want to leave their positions, but acquire information on how their role is valued in other companies. Some recruitment skills are acquired through training, but several others you acquire through experience. For one to identify a lying candidate requires tact and experience, which cannot be learnt in a day. It requires one to avail themselves to as many recruitment opportunities as possible. Let us now look at 11 key skills and attributes that recruiters need to succeed in this role. But before we do so, please remember to subscribe below if you're joining us for the first time. The desire to do this job is a key attribute for one pursuing a recruiting role. Human resource practitioners who specialize in this area love it, even though it has several challenges like any other profession. Those who pursue it enjoy the duties, which includes meeting new people daily. This position may require that you work outside your comfort zone. Sometimes the candidates who meet the required skills may live in a location with a different time zone from the recruiter. This means that you may have to interview the candidates after working hours to have this conversation. This may be done virtually or by phone when they are awake in their countries. It means that on this day, the recruiter may have to put in more than a day's job to have this interview. These are some of the difficult times that a recruiter may demonstrate a strong desire for their work. The recruitment process is usually long and can be tedious. However, a passionate recruiter cannot avoid even one step along the way. And this is because the consequences of hiring the wrong person for any position can be very costly to any organization. A recruiter should be able to identify talent anywhere. This occurs if one is not biased and genuinely interested in the skills a person has. For example, if a recruiter is attending a business event and there is an individual registering visitors, they may be recording their contact details or presenting them with a welcome package, or even guiding them to their well-marked seats with ease. If they keep doing this work with a smile and in a friendly manner, the recruiter should be able to identify such skills immediately for a front office or customer service position. And if during the networking session, the recruiter finds out that the individual is not employed, they can be potential candidates for such a position should it arise. Retaining the contacts of such a person is key for the recruiter, and it forms part of their talent pipeline. Being keen and hawk-eyed as a recruiter is very important, and seizing opportunities as they arise. Please share with us in the comments below other social functions where recruiters can identify talent. Thoughtfulness is another skill that recruiters need, and it's especially required once the best candidate has been identified. It does not matter how keen the successful candidate may want to move into the new position. There are several factors that a recruiter should consider. The notice period that the candidate must fulfill as an obligation to their employer before they can leave their position. They must also hand over properly to their employer. If the candidate was unemployed, it may be considerate to give them ample time to plan their sudden lifestyle change from not having consistent work into a full-time job. This comes at a cost because suddenly the individual must plan their commute to the workplace if they have to be physically present and live far away from the office. The recruiter should consider the relocation process if the new hire lives in a different country and makes it as seamless as possible. Please share an example below of how a recruiter has been thoughtful during your recruitment process. Recruiters document a lot, and this may not be possible if one is not computer literate. A recruiter starts documenting from the time a vacant position has been identified to onboarding, and this is a huge process. A few of the documents that recruiters must prepare include job advertisements. This has to be as detailed as possible and catchy to get the attention of the right candidate. They also develop the interview questions for different positions to capture important and relevant answers from each of the candidates interviewed. The knowledge of using different platforms for virtual interviews and using a computer is also key. The recruiter must also prepare a report and share with management prior to onboarding the successful candidates. Apart from this, there are several onboarding documents that the recruiter must prepare in advance or update existing documents. All these cannot happen if the recruiter is not computer literate. They must also be willing to continuously learn because technology changes daily. Persistence is another skill that recruiters must have. This is because you cannot settle for anyone to fill a position. The person hired should be able to do the job and ideally should meet the required qualifications required for the position. This ensures that you bring in a person who fits into the work culture of the organization. Therefore, you cannot afford to close the process even if the right fit person has not been identified. Bringing in the wrong person becomes a problem to the team who have to exert themselves more. The recruiter should be able to conduct as many interviews as possible until the right person is identified. There are times that the recruiter may be forced to re-advertise or spend more funds than usual to attract and have access to a pool of more qualified candidates that they can select from. This requires persistence and great determination that can only emanate from within. Please share with us in the comments below to what extent you've gone as a recruiter to ensure that you got the right candidate as an employee. No one likes to be lied to, and we do not expect this from recruiters. They should only offer what is available and not overpromise. Honesty is a very important skill for any recruiter. This is because if a successful candidate discovers after onboarding that the benefits promised are non-existent or the terms discussed have suddenly changed, they can be very demoralized. If the organization values that were presented during the recruitment process are not being demonstrated by the team that the new hire has joined, they are likely to resign as soon as possible. The same way a candidate is not expected to lie is the same way that a recruiter should not lie about the organization. Honesty has always been a win for everyone. For the recruiter, one would rather re-advertise and get a suitable candidate who is willing to accept the terms on offer with their qualifications. This gives an organization a bad image and makes them less favorable to job seekers. Organization skills are a must for any recruiter. This is because without it, some of the important tasks in the recruitment process may not happen or may be done without the seriousness that they deserve. A recruiter must set the interview to take place at a time and date that is convenient for both the candidate and panelists. It should be booked early once the shortlisted candidates have been approved and are available. This is very important, and even though some emergencies may occur that may cause the date to be changed, it is always better to confirm a date when all participants have been contacted in advance and are available. No panelist should see the candidate's documents at the interview for the first time. With good preparation, this should be sent out in advance so that the panelists can make good judgment of what is on paper and the real person. Several activities must take place during a recruitment process, which cannot be successful without proper organization on the part of the recruiter. Please share below if you've ever attended A disorganized interview. Recruiters should not be left out from having some basic social media skills. This lets them understand where to post job adverts for different positions and also know where their potential candidates hang out online. Often candidates can be found on specific platforms depending on the region as well as age. It helps the recruiter focus and waste less time in finding the right candidates. This knowledge also enables them to customize the advert for a particular platform and in a way that is appealing to potential candidates. Social media platforms are also useful for engaging possible candidates in advance. This helps the recruiter understand their needs and values in a job. They also get to share more about the company in regard to what is being offered as well as specific activities of a given role. This advanced engagement can help a recruiter note exactly what job seekers are looking out for in a job. It also helps a recruiter decide with their team if it is necessary to make some changes in the role so that they can attract the right candidates. Sales and marketing are excellent skills for any recruiter. This is because they showcase the benefits of working with the organization. A recruiter should know how to create lasting awareness about a position and sell the company to the right candidate. Their input is required in all the events and marketing materials sent out to potential applicants. These may include flyers, questionnaires, and different forms that helps in targeting the right population. These are the first contact that potential candidates have with the organization. The recruiter should also remember to inform candidates on the value they will get from the employer during the interview. They must ensure that candidates are sold by the time their interview ends. Persistence, honesty, and clear communication skills is required to help identify the right candidate. Please let us know in the comments below when you left an interview with clarity on what is expected of the successful candidate. It is obvious that recruiters may know the candidate's current employer. However, this does not mean that they should breach confidentiality and inform the candidate's employer that the employee is looking for greener pastures. Confidentiality must be maintained throughout the recruitment process between the candidate and the recruiter. This must continue until the candidate has been successful and offered a position. There should be no discrimination whatsoever, and employee screening must take place as required to complete the hiring process. The candidate's employer may be informed during the background check, but with the consent of the candidate if they are still in employment. But even if they are not successful, this discussion should not go beyond the recruiter's office to avoid putting the candidate's work at risk. This is because both employed and unemployed persons have the freedom to look for different opportunities anywhere, but the employed should inform their employers as soon as they are ready to separate by issuing a resignation letter in good time as agreed in their employment contract. Did you know that research is part of the skills required of recruiters? A recruiter must understand the role of the position that they are hiring for. Even though the head of department or the person supervising the role could have explained it in detail, it is always important to do further research. This helps one to get more information in regard to what is expected of the role across different industries. Research also helps recruiters to know the different types of recruiting software which the organization can purchase to make the process seamless. If a recruiter has changed jobs to a different industry or acquired a new client in a different industry, they may have to acquire more information in regard to recruitment. This can be possible through research and mentorship from those in the new industry. And this ends our tutorial today. If you've learned something, please like and share to benefit others. You can also subscribe and hit the notification bell to know when we next upload our video. Thank you for watching.